Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into this video. Today we will see about Einstein-de-Haas effect. Before going into the lecture, I would like to request you to subscribe my channel. And so Einstein-de-Haas effect, this effect shows us the macroscopic effects of electron spin. So we know that electron has a spin, and this experiment will show the macroscopic effects of that electron spin. Now here it is a physical phenomenon in which a change in magnetic moment of a free body causes the body to rotate. So here magnetic moments are associated with the electron spin. So now here the change in the magnetic moment causes the body to rotate. So we are conducting experiment of Einstein-de-Haas effect, in which we are using ferromagnetic body, and by applying certain external conditions, we are changing the magnetic moment and observing the body to rotate, and then interpreting the whole phenomena. Now, so here this experiment proves the conservation of angular momentum of electron revolving in an orbit. So this experiment shows the conservation of angular momentum, and so here this effect is strong enough to be observable in ferromagnetic materials only, because such level of magnetization is achieved in ferromagnetic materials, like iron or any ferromagnetic material. So this experiment demonstrates that the phenomenon of magnetization is caused by the alignment of the angular moment of electrons in the material along the axis of magnetization. So here we are magnetizing the ferromagnetic material or body by applying external magnetic field, and then uh, so then this phenomenon of magnetization, it is caused by the alignment of angular moment of electrons. So uh, the angular momentum of the electrons is aligned along the axis of magnetization. Now here these measurements also allow the separation of two contributions to the magnetization. So an electron revolving in an orbit has both orbital angular momentum and spin angular momentum. So now here these measurements of Einstein-de-Haas effect will let us know the two contributions to the magnetization. That is, one is associated with the spin and the other is with the orbital motion. Now, this effect was first predicted by O. W. Richardson in 1908. He is the one, and later, actually, he has predicted, but experimentally not proved. But later, Albert Einstein and Wanda Jonas de Haas, who published two papers after conducting experiment and after the experimental observation. So that's why it got Einstein and here de Haas effect, from their surnames. Now the experiment. So it is a simple experiment, but give very valuable information or about the phenomenon of spin angular momentum. And here a cylinder of ferromagnetic material. So this one is a ferromagnetic material, and here it is supposed to be cylindrical, perfectly cylindrical. It should be there. Then only uh, we can observe the macroscopic effects of spin, and with the aid of a thin string. So here for this ferromagnetic body we are connecting the string here. This is the string, and inside a cylindrical coil. Coil also must be very perfectly cylindrically wounded. So actually this coil we see between the two, we are seeing the space, but in reality, for conducting this experiment it should be very close. The windings, we don't see any separation between this one and this one. So it is very perfectly cylindrically wounded coil also, as well as the ferromagnetic body. So this will provide a axial magnetic field. This coil is used to magnetize the ferromagnetic body. So very axially. So if it is perfectly cylindrical, the coil is perfectly cylindrical, then the magnetization can be done perfectly axially. So here axially nothing but this along the string, you can say string axis. If you apply Fleming's right hand rule, if you hold the fingers along the coil, then you might see that the field direction is along the string. That's the case with here, and this is a mirror, and this is an optical source, that is laser. So we are incidenting laser on this mirror, and we are detecting it on a screen. The spot is detected on the screen. Now, whenever the rod rotates, the spot also moves. So here the rotation in the rod is detected when the spot moves. Now, so here, if the cylinder is not magnetized, all electron spins point in different direction. So the electrons can point in any direction randomly. Uh, the electron spins point in different direction. So the cylinder doesn't rotate as its total angular momentum is zero. So here the net spin is zero actually. So the cylinder doesn't rotate as the total angular momentum is zero. Now this is a case where the cylinder is not magnetized. That is, here we have switch. Imagine that the switch is closed at time t is equal to 0, but this observation is t less than 0. Now when we close the switch at t is equal to 0 and switch on the magnetic field, that is magnetic field is applied. Uh, Now this makes every spin of the electron to align in magnetic field direction. So here magnetic field direction is along axially. Now the every spin of electron, that is all electron spins, align in magnetic field direction, and the cylinder rotates during this span of time. So when we suddenly apply the magnetic field, the spins of the electrons also get aligned in the magnetic field direction, and in that span of time, the cylinder rotates until the spins align in the magnetic field direction. Now, in the beginning, the spins were pointing in different directions, so the net spin was zero, as we have seen. After applying magnetic field, cylinder gets magnetized, hence then their spin now parallel to the magnetic field. So, electron spins are now parallel to the magnetic. Now, here the change in spin gives rise to angular momentum. So, earlier, before applying magnetic field, the spins was random direction, and when magnetic field is applied, the spin direction is in magnetic field direction. So the spin is changed. This change in spin gives rise to angular momentum. Now by reversing the battery terminals of DC supply, so the magnetic field direction changes. Like here plus minus is there. Now if we take this wire and connect here, and this one if we connect to negative, then current direction changes. Like current, so here in this case current flows like this, but when we change the polarities, currents will flow in reverse direction. So reverse in current direction causes reverse in the magnetic field direction. So here the magnetic field direction also gets reversed. So here when this happens, then magnetization of the ferromagnetic core also gets reversed. Okay, so the change in magnetization microscopically is linked to reversal of magnetic moments. So what happens when the magnetization changes? Again, spin also will get reversed. So always spin direction is parallel to magnetization, but now magnetization is reversed, so spin also get reversed. So now when the spin is getting reversed, this change in spin again gives rise to angular momentum. The arrangement within the coil is rotationally symmetrical. So that's why we have taken perfect cylinder of both coil and also ferromagnetic body. Hence, because we are maintaining this symmetry, the magnetic field cannot exert any torque on the cylindrical ferromagnetic core. Now, but cylinder rotates slowly. Actually, the external magnetic field is not exerting any torque. So, the ferromagnetic core rotation is not because of external magnetic field. So, external magnetic field has nothing to do with the rotation of ferromagnetic core. But as we have seen, it is due to change in the spin direction, change in the spin. That is, spin is always orienting in the magnetic field direction. So, uh, when we reverse the polarity of the terminals and reverse the magnetization, the spin also getting reversed, and because of that, it is giving rise to angular momentum. But not like Lorentz force. No Lorentz force is acting here. Now, but cylinder rotates slowly and to that's what cylinder rotates slowly, and to observe this, a small mirror is attached to the string of cylinder and a laser is directed onto the mirror and its reflection is viewed on a screen. So that's what we have seen from the apparatus of the experiment. Now the reflected laser beam spot on the screen moves slowly as the ferromagnetic cylinder rotates. So here the rotation of the rod must therefore relate to change in the magnetization of ferromagnetic core. So when magnetization changes, the direction of spin changes. Because of that, we are getting angular momentum. Now, the magnetization and angular momentum consist of contributions from both the spin and orbital angular momentum. So here we have told that um, the change in spin direction is causing angular momentum. That's true. But there is also small contribution from orbital angular momentum. How much small it would be, we will see in the example. So, but for now, we will mention it as magnetization contribution is from ms spin and mo, that is orbital angular momentum. And similarly, here J represent angular momentum, and this has both spin and orbital motion. And now here we know that relations. So these relations, here, if we know that this is magnetization due to orbital motion, which is E by 2m into J naught, and this is magnetization due to spin, which is equal to G into E by 2m into Js. Okay, here E is the charge and m is the mass of electron, and uh, so here G value is 2.002. This is the G factor for anomalous magnetic moment of the electron. This can be find out experimentally. G is equal to 2.002. Now we can derive the relative spin contribution to the magnetization. That is, ms is due to spin, and this is total magnetization, which is given by G dash minus 1 by G minus 1 with this relation. So for pure iron, the measured value of G dash is 1.919 plus or minus 0.002. Some error might be occur, so it is this much. And now when we substitute G dash and G in this equation, we get ms by m is 0.96. So here ms is magnetization due to spin, and this is overall magnetization. So here from this we can see that magnetization due to spin is 96% of the overall magnetization. That's why we were talking about spin in general. That's why as it is 96% contributing. So we were telling that change in spin is the cause for angular momentum. Though there is 4% of orbital motion contribution also. Now in pure iron, so this is an example. In pure iron case, 96% of the magnetization is provided by the polarization of electron spin, while the remaining 4% is provided by the polarization of angular orbital angular momenta. Now, for other materials also, it will be in the same order. It won't be like 50-50 or 30-70, but around, suppose for another material, it could be 97 percentage of magnetization might be provided by the polarization of electron spin, and 3% might be due to orbital motion, or 95 here it could be, and 5% here it could be, but only in that order it exists. And from the observed rotation of the cylinder and conservation of angular momentum, it can be concluded that spin of the electrons behaves like angular momentum, because the spin of the electrons is giving rise to angular momentum 96% or 95%, whereas only 3 or 4 or 5% is because of orbital motion. Uh, Now the spin angular momentum is transferred to mechanical angular momentum of atoms. So the spin angular momentum is transferred to mechanical angular momentum of atoms. That's why the cylinder is rotating, even without any Lorentz force because of external magnetic field. And the change in the total spin of the electrons during magnetization translates into a macroscopic rotation of the ferromagnetic cylinder. This is the main thing we are repeatedly discussing, but this is the main thing of this experiment. Now, the experiment determines the gyromagnetic ratio, thus determining the relative contribution of spin and orbital angular momentum. So here gyromagnetic ratio is nothing but G here. Ms is equal to G. So by determining this, it is able to uh, tell the relative contribution due to spin and orbital angular momentum. So this is all about Einstein-De Haas effect, and hope you understood well. And if you have any doubts or queries, please write in comments. And to get more videos, subscribe and press bell icon to get notifications whenever I upload a video. And thank you for watching. See you in the another lecture.